to the Brotherhood of Gaming Video Game Show, the only video game show that may not give you the tales of retrospective that you want, but the one that you need right now. I'm your host, William Morris.
And I'm your co-host, Eugene Morris. Well, we've been hard at work at the Tales of Retrospective series, but in the meantime, Tales of Xillia 2 has recently hit the American shores. So we decided, hey, we might as well give our honest opinion, and besides, who else but us? The number one Tales fans in the entire universe. I don't know, Will, do you think that sounds a little too conceited?
Anyway, for the review of Tales of Xillia 2, which you're watching, we're going to do our best to be as brief as possible, since most of this and much more is going to be covered once again in its own Tales of Retrospective episode. Unfortunately, seeing as how that probably wouldn't be for some time, we decided to seize the initiative and give you a brief rundown of what we thought right now.
Tales of Xillia 2 is the follow-up to last year's Tales of Xillia. Duh. Why we need to tell you this? I don't know. However, you might be interested in knowing that in Japan, the game unfortunately didn't meet expectations and only sold about 500,000 copies. Given that the game is over 2 years old and was only in Japan, well, to us, that's kind of not a bad number. Worldwide, that would have been a problem.
Does that mean this game was bad? The answer? Well, kind of taboo, since sales expectations are relative, and quite often they never do meet expectations. Anyway, my only idea is that sequels in general don't sell as many as the first game will. I mean, it's a pretty large demographics of people who didn't play it to have to look at the cover and see a number 2 on something.
I digress. Is the game any good? The game takes place 1 year after Xillia 1, exactly the same time as the official release dates. Go figure. Continuity! On the continent of Olympias, you take control of your new Tales protagonist named Ludger Kresnik, whose life takes a series of unfortunate turns as trouble constantly invades his family's life. His brother is missing in action, he suddenly owes a tremendous amount of debt that Scrooge McDuck would twitch at having to pay off, and is stuck looking after a small child who has lost her home and is desperately trying to find a magical place called the Land of Canaan.
Given little resources, Ludger, with the player's inputs, travels to familiar worlds and occasionally meets the familiar faces of Tales of Xillia, whom grow a relationship with him over time. For some Tales fans of Xillia, this might pose a problem, as some players may have gotten attached to the first cast and may be displeased seeing them reduced to secondary characters. The game has 5 possible outcomes based on the actions and choices made throughout the adventure. We won't spoil how to get or what any of them are. We'll just say that some of them left us satisfied, disappointed, and flat out shocked. Some are a little predictable, and sometimes, dare I say, cliché.
That being said, the story revolving around the adventure itself and the side adventures to be found are quite fun and interesting to explore. In the end, the story is pretty good and is a nice follow-up to the first installment, and in a lot of ways it's actually superior. All of the elements of Tales of Xillia take precedence in the sequel. However, some familiar and newer portions have been added to enrich the experience even further, such as the AC combo system from previous games such as Tales of Rebirth, Tales of Destiny Director's Cut, and Tales of Graces.
And Kitty Dispatch that allows you to send your faithful cat to hunt for materials you're too lazy to do yourself, as well as the custom order system where you literally can custom order better weapons for your expanding party. Ludger himself has a power all his own, allowing him to gain some time momentum and wail on the enemy for a period of time with new powers. Ludger, the new main character, most will be surprised to find out is not all that talkative, but instead communicates often with single words or phrases and leaves the dialogue open to the player's choices in conversations and the rest of the cast to fill. At least until you beat the game and unlock his voice actor.
These and many more additions increase Tales of Xillia 2's replayability. More of this will further be discussed in greater and, hopefully, funnier detail in the Tales of Retrospective coming soon.
In the end, Tales of Xillia 2 really is a good follow-up to last year's Tales of Xillia. It is not a perfect game, however, because it is guilty of reusing the exact same worlds and levels with fewer ones there on the side. But, you know, we're kind of okay with that, since as fans of the series, it's the story that truly matters in the long run. But, it's not the perfect Tales game. I mean, come on, perfection is kind of hard to top.
The bottom line is, if you enjoyed the story and the gameplay of the first Tales of Xillia, then this sequel is definitely worth your time. Unfortunately, for outsiders who try to jump into this sequel, they'll be more lost than Capcom trying to figure out what to do with Mega Man.
Oh! Well, gamers, that's all we have for Tales of Xillia 2. Usually the reviews are a little longer than this, but given that it's going to be a lot longer when we get to the retrospective episode, we had to be kind of short with it. We had to save something for the episode, right?
Right.
Anyway, be sure to subscribe and check out our Twitter and Facebook and follow us all there to find out what we're doing, what we're up to, and all of the new and fantastic shows and updates that we're going to be doing for you guys. We're constantly working on the clock to bring you a better video game show, unlike any other video game show out there. I'm your host, William Morris.
And I'm your co-host, Eugene Morris. Thank you again for watching, and thank you again for all your support.
We'll see you next time.
Stay tuned for the third episode of Tales of Retrospective.